7 is your election news leader. And looking ahead, early voting will begin Monday in the only primary runoff election in Smith County, with Terry Phillips and J. Scott Herod facing off to be the Republican nominee for Precinct 3 Commissioner. Terry Phillips first took office as a Smith County Commissioner in 2009 and has represented Precinct 3 ever since.
If they want somebody that's a proven conservative that will fight for those things, I'm that person. I've never wavered, never flip-flopped on those issues or anything. So
Phillips has faced criticism in the last year for his family's legal trouble with the county, including one of his sons having to be removed multiple times from Commissioner's Court, and multi-million-dollar lawsuits filed against the county by his other son and wife, County Clerk Karen Phillips, who was convicted last week of interfering with the arrest of their son.
None of those things involve me. Not a single one of them involved me other than his family members. Did Terry Phillips, has he been accused of anything? Has Terry Phillips did anything? No, he hasn't.
If re-elected, Phillips says he'll continue to do the same thing he's done since he was first elected 16 years ago.
You know, I think I have served my citizens well in a conservative manner, and they're going to get that same service from me. Nothing's going to change. They know how I am. I want them to vote for Terry Phillips for who he is, what he has done, and on my record only, and nothing else.
Phillips' opponent in the runoff is Smith County native J. Scott Herod, who got the most votes in the primary election.
The key is an opportunity to serve the people of Precinct 3 and then Smith County, beyond those just in the precinct.
Herod's background includes overseeing rural banks for Bank of America, a much different career than the one he now has as rancher and owner of Cut Beef in Tyler.
Being a rancher and having worked hard to create a generational ranch, it's important to me that we continue to build Smith County for those that are going to come after us.
Herod believes he's the right man for the job at the right time and feels it's time for Precinct 3 to have a new representative.
I believe this position is not one that we camp out in for 16 years now, potentially 20 years, and that some change is needed as we go through the process of growing and evolving as a county.
And the winner of this runoff will face Democrat Edith Mayfield Wilson in the November election. Again, early voting begins this coming Monday, May 20th, continues through the 24th. Election Day is Tuesday, May 28th.